Welcome, everybody, to Season 2 of Happiness Patrol. I'm excited. We're doing Back to the Future. Back to the Future. If you go back, we're talking Star Wars. If you go to the future, we're talking about all sorts of other cool stuff. And today we're doing both back and the future. Yes, I'm trying to be funny. I'm just had a long day and I'm a little bit spastic. But yes, we return to the kazoo for the theme song. Don't ask me what I'm going to do for some of these future shows that we've got, because some of them don't have iconic music like that. Super exciting show. Let's get things rolling. I'm going to start off by bringing in some regulars. We'll start with my wonderful cousin Cameron. Hey, Cam.
Hello. Time circuit's on. Let's do this.
Excellent. And next up, coming up, is Scott. Hey, Scott.
YOLO.
So,
hello.
Part of this extra specialness of this episode is, unfortunately, Melanie and Jess were not able to make it today. So I got some special guests. In lieu of Melanie, I have another Melanie.
Just keeping it, simple. You don't have to learn a new name.
Exactly. Melanie from Mel's Board Game Room. Welcome to Happiness Patrol.
Thank you.
So happy you could make it. And from the Read Along Podcast, a wonderful book club for your ears, Miss Anita. Hello, Mrs. Anita.
Hello.
So stoked you can be here. For those who have not heard, I'm going to hype the read along for a second. Whenever I travel across the country, I will put on an audiobook and listen to an audiobook chapter and a chapter of their podcast, and an audiobook chapter and a chapter of their podcast. And I found nothing better to keep the road zombies away.
Aw, thank you.
So I just came back from Ontario, and you guys kept me busy most of the way there and most of the way back.
Wow, that's like an entire book worth.
2.
Well done.
One book on the way there and one book on the way back.
Oh my god.
I need to alter my outfit, so it's a little chilly in here, so I'm gonna put my hoodie on. Pardon me.
Not a problem. So for those who are new to Happiness Patrol, both on the camera and you at home, what this show is we as friends have decided we want to get rid of all things toxic, get rid of the toxic fandoms. And talk about something that makes us happy. Our first season, that was Star Wars. In this season, we've got a whole great lineup of shows for you that the regular cast have all chosen. And it's movies that make us happy. We can be critical of these movies. I don't see that we will be in this case, because there's not a lot wrong with Back to the Future. But we did want to go through and have fun with this. So there'll be no toxic stuff. It'll just be happy vibes, positive vibes. And like I said, potentially critical vibes, but nothing toxic.
The occasional blackout.
Lost some light. We lost some light from in Anita land. That's okay.
Oh, good. Actually, looks great. Looks great.
And the labyrinth.
Pardon me, I'm having a small technical difficulty. I'll be right back.
Not a problem. So, Cam, this was your pick.
This is my pick. This is one that my sister and I watched over and over and over, and have questions. We've bought books about it. We've dissected the timeline. We've thought about every little detail. We've delved into every making of you could possibly have watched or read, and I still feel it's a perfect movie. I think it's just an absolute, especially the first one is a perfect movie. We'll get into the second and third. I love them. And I love how they all connect. And there's just so much great stuff in it. And from a filmmaking standpoint, this movie was anything but perfect from script to screen. Like it from where it started, and it was rejected from every studio like over 40 times, and
really
they were basically 5 weeks, 6 weeks into shooting with a totally different lead actor, and they shut the whole thing down and recast, and Eric Stoltz was gone and Michael J. Fox was in, and they changed so much from that point on. When the script there was no DeLorean. It was a fridge. It was.
How do you get a
How do you
fridge
get a fridge
up
to
to
88 miles
88
per hour?
miles an hour?
Well, there was
They
no
had to
space.
reinvent the whole science.
They needed a nuclear reaction in the fridge, which was triggered by pouring Coca-Cola on it. It was supposed to be a tie-in with Coca-Cola, and then that was gonna make the fridge emit a ray at somebody that
Oh
would
my
send them back
God.
in time. But then they were, obviously switching it to the car gave a little motion, gave a little movement, gave a little bit of drama, and yeah, I mean, the amount of terrible ideas, including the studio wanting to rename it Spaceman from Pluto or whatever, just there, it was just a string of misfortunes, terrible ideas. But at its heart, they knew the story they were trying to tell, which was essentially Bob Gale found his dad's high school yearbook and kind of went, "There's no way I'd be friends with this guy." He was the student council president. Meanwhile, Bob Gale was petitioning to have student government eliminated. And he was just like, we were such different people. How did this happen? And so then this rude idea of like, if I went back to my parents' high school, would I be friends with my dad? Would my mom's story of being, pious and chaste be true? Because the other Bob Zemeckis, he didn't believe any of his mom's stories about how well behaved she was, and he was probably, they probably weren't true. So just that idea, that root story of a father and a son, and how everything you do, how your actions have consequences. I just think it's a beautiful movie, and so well paced. The music's incredible, the casting's incredible. Christopher Lloyd's face is incredible. The DeLorean is incredible. Yeah, it's just a great day at the movies.
The first thing that came to mind, as you said that, is at the end, near the end of the movie, when he's putting the stuff in the new flux capacitor, the whole can of Coke gets poured in and he drops the can in.
Yeah, he wiggles the beer or whatever.
I thought it was a can of Coke. Sorry. Well, then whatever. I'm wondering if that's holdover from when.
Well, I think the amount of Pepsi that's involved.
Yeah, and the
throughout
second one
whole
for sure.
trilogy,
But
is kind of a holdover to that idea of having a soft drink involved.
Mm.
I will say that obviously this movie will never be remade or rebooted as long as Bob Gale is alive. I don't think we could. I don't know if that's going to be true after they're gone. I think we'll go to the well.
They'll be given the eulogy while they're green light in the script. The eulogy for Bob while they're casting for the next one. You already know they have it all lined up. They're just
They'll
waiting
announce
for
it
that.
at the funeral. Yeah.
Well, it's such a ubiquity. It's sort of like how there's, Jurassic Park kind of owns dinosaurs now. It's really hard to make a dinosaur movie that isn't in the Jurassic franchise. It's kind of hard to make a time travel movie. I will say, like, the closest we're going to get, though, right now is Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, which I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a fridge. They pour an Orbitz in it, and then the flux capacitor activates. And
where did they find an Orbitz?
The time travel was involved.
Were they in a hot tub for that time travel?
Well, no,
that's a whole separate franchise and a whole separate lawsuit.
It works.
Great movie and great nods to Back to the Future throughohout it. But
anyway, even Rick and Morty is Back to the Future, just done like it's so in that like ding ding, which I do no service. That little chime that something's there is just part of our lexicon, like a day to day. Like it's so rarely do I go a day without hearing a Back to the Future reference in some way.
Usually because you're talking to me and I'll reference it.
90% of them are. Yes, that's for sure. Like I have a guy at work who's his little ringtone to say when he gets text messages, the doodly doo, and all I think was Back to the Future instantly.
Oh, love it.
Like
love it.
It's the beginning like trumpet in Star Wars. The minute you hear it, it's just you know what it is. And so it's Back to the Future is just that.
It's howdy doody time.
Howdy doody time.
But some of those songs, you just need the one sting, right? That one little bit.
Yeah.
It's impressive too, because like I watched Back to the Future the first time as a rerun. I was 5 years old when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the big hype was like I was part of that. It was just like the reruns were still had so much impact that everybody knows what Back to the Future is. Like even my kids would know what Back to the Future is and can relate to it. Like it was impressive impact that movie had. And then to hear like all the how it almost wasn't even, and then how it changed, that's impressive.
No script survives first contact with the studio.
Not usually. You know, it's very rare. And in this case, even like something simple like, you know, Eric Stoltz, who was the original Marty, he read it and thought it was a tragic story because he thought, oh, once Marty gets into, I call it 1985 prime, which is when they get to the end and George and Lorraine are a little bit more put together. The house is a little more decorated. You know, his brother Dave has a job at a office with a, you know, as opposed to Burger King, and Eric Stoltz's impression of that was, oh, Marty's whole family has these memories of growing up that Marty will never have. And it's actually kind of this tragic tale. And that was one reason why he kind of played it a little serious. And he was wearing all black. He looked like someone from The Outsiders, you know, with the black jean jacket. And he was very concerned, although amazing casting of him and George McFly, of Crispin Glover as father son. It really works in that sense, but it didn't have that fun humor Michael J. Fox to it. And, you know, even something as simple as when they recast with Michael J. Fox, they gave him the orange puffer vest and the blue jeans and the checkered shirt with the red underneath. And when he's walking through Hill Valley, he's bright and colorful and just like little things like that, which really just has become such an iconic look, and it works so well on so many comedic levels. And the first scene that he shot, of course, was at the Twin Pines Mall, all that stuff where he's learning about the time machine and everything. But his first scene with his mother Lorraine is when he wakes up and he thinks he's in her bedroom.
Calvin Klein in the underwear.
Calvin Klein in the underwear. And when Michael J. Fox suggested they change the line that his pants are over on her desk to her hope chest, and then the way she says the line hope chest, you know exactly who that character is and what her whole mission is from the way she says hope chest. And then even Michael J. Fox, you know, she throws his pants at him from off screen, and then he goes to put them on and he falls and he does the little pratfall. Again, not scripted. No one knew he was going to do that. The cameraman almost panned down with him, not knowing he was going to fall out of frame. Wow. And, you know, just bringing Michael J. Fox, an Alberta native, Edmonton native, into this movie just completely changed the whole tone, and I think very key to making it what it is now.
Well, and when you look at his shooting schedule during that time, which if you don't know is insane, it says a lot, I think, about what he thought of the film. Like, why would you put yourself through that much if you didn't think that there was something there to because I think most people would have been, nope, I'm shooting. I think it was Family Ties at the time.
Yeah, Family Ties,
yeah. And then he would sleep in the car on the way to do shooting for the other one. And then sleep on the car pretty much on the way to shoot for the other one. Like, it was constant. Yeah. Put yourself through that if you don't believe it's going to be something.
Yeah, and that word at the beginning, Steven Spielberg presents, was a big motivator in putting himself through that. But again, Family Ties was the #1 show in the nation, maybe #2 if depending on the Cosby Show that week. In the US. And that season was supposed to focus a little bit more on the parents, even though the kids had kind of stolen the thunder of the show. And then Meredith Baxter Birney got pregnant and ended up in bed rest. And so not only was it, yes, you've got a sitcom schedule in the daytime and a Steven Spielberg schedule at night and on weekends, It's and your sitcom schedule, every episode is going to focus around your character.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's amazing that he put himself through that, but he also, put himself through, not working as an actor and poverty and everything, prior to that. And he was just going to do anything he could to get it made.
Anita, do you have some? What are your memories of Back to the Future?
Similar to Melanie, the first one came out when I was just a kid, but I remember all of the hype around the subsequent movies as it became this very popular trilogy. I remember Back to the Future 2 being this huge deal, right? Because it was like, oh my God, the future, right?
Mhm.
So look back on the first one and how like foundational it is to the pop culture zeitgeist that has embraced it,
Mhm.
right? I love a special feature. Show me your documentaries, show me your deleted scenes, show me your gag reels, all of it. Give
100%.
me all of the things. I love it so much. And in one of it was like a little mini doc that I was watching. I honestly can't cite my sources. I don't remember where. Someone was talking about Back to the Future, the script, the shooting script, being used in film studies classrooms as an example of a perfect script.
Oh,
I believe it. I believe
And
it.
so with that knowledge, if you go back and look and watch it again, you're like, yeah, this is like a really good formula. They hit all the right beats, right? Your act structure is very clear. Your character arcs are very clear. They're very good. Like everyone has something to do. Like there aren't any parts of this movie that I find to be boring or useless.
Mhm.
Right.
And I can't
There's
say
no
that
fat.
about a lot of other films.
I think
Yeah, and a lot of that perfectness is again a result of restrictions, because Michael J. Fox had this crazy schedule. They basically said, okay, all these key scenes have to take place in this one set on the studio backlot. It has to, the chase with Biff, the clock tower, it's all got to be here. And then they're like, okay, well, maybe we put a clock on the courtroom, and now, oh, actually a clock's a good thing because it's a movie about time. And like everything just kind of fell into place in this magical
It's a recurring
way.
theme in Hollywood that limitations foster creativity.
Mhm.
Yes, very much so.
We can't have X. Okay, let's figure it out. Oh, that's really
Mhm.
smart. Let's do that.
There's a really, I think the key line to talk about your how good this script is when he's at the dinner table talking about how he saw this episode before.
What's a
It
rerun?
Yeah.
sells.
What's a rerun? Yeah.
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 It sells everything the movie is in that one scene. Everything. This guy is from somewhere else, and he is going to start being like, I know things from the future, and I'm going to try to keep doing that. And it's innocuous because he's just, oh yeah, I've seen this one before. We've all done that. Like, yeah, well, I've seen this episode, or I've seen this movie, whatever. And everyone's like, no, this is the first time, yo. And he goes, oh yeah, like, and you can see it on
Yeah.
his face,
Right.
and he goes, oh crap, I
Yeah, this-
really
it's
am.
brand new. Yeah.
They
like,
don't know what a rerun is.
And I think a lesser
It's-
movie would have made that scene very different, but like really held on it or celebrated it or whatever. But it's a small throwaway line at a interesting time because he's meeting his grandparents and all this stuff. So you've got that on top of it. And but when you go through this movie, it's very much like that all the time. The Twin Pines Mall to the Lone Pine Mall, Lone Pine, Single Pine,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
Lone
Lone
Pine
Pine
Lone
Mall.
Pine.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's all these little things. When he shows up and it's the suburb which is full where he lived, but it's empty. It's not there yet.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's a lot
And there's
of
the
visual in
sign
this.
for the houses that are coming, and it's his exact house, just in a
Yeah,
different color.
Yeah.
yeah. I like how it's mystery. I'm going to miss Mystery Science Theater, like that because that was a thing like in nerd culture back then that we watched Mystery Science Theater. That's what we do, right? And
yeah,
like,
and it's not going to rerun again. Like he can't go to the dance. It's on during his favorite show.
Yeah,
it's masterful exposition too. Exposition is a very, very difficult thing to pull off correctly. But even Lorraine explaining how they first met at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, and you're just picking up all this information that's all going to become relevant later. The Save the Clock Tower, you know, the lady from the Amityville horror
The
movie.
crazy lady who's shaking her chains at him.
And she's just like, you know, they're trying to restore the clock. We should leave it broken. You know, it's a part of our history. And then to have the flyer with his girlfriend's number on the back, and it's only later that he realizes he does know where lightning's going to strike, and using all that to their advantage. It's unbelievable. Even just Doc explaining how the time circuits work and everything that he has to like spit out at this incredible rate, and we just take it all in, only for it to all pay off, all of it later, you know.
Yeah. Well, especially with the Lebanese showing up for the uranium. Using Einstein just quickly demonstrating it right then and there, and then sitting in pointing at the thing. Like, I think the key to a lot of that is they show and tell at the same time. They don't tell or show. They do both. Like, this thing is the important. Keep an eye on this thing throughout, like the flux capacitor database there, the user interface, I guess. This is the key thing. And so when they're chasing for the lightning, we'll have our eyes on the 88 and that thing at the same time, saying, because this is going to be important. This is your important, right? The flux capacitor, it's important. It's what makes everything. When he's doing a little documentary with the camera, like, spells out the film.
1.21 gigawatts and
1.21 gigawatts.
All these things where it's like a movie with a time machine, but they're always running late, and they're always you know, like literally he could just go to any time ever, but he can't, because he needs that bolt of lightning, and he needs everything to come together in this like synchronized thing. Also, Doc's math is always a little bit off, you know, and so it always kind of works out, even though they're late for everything. And it's just, I always love that scene when he first meets Doc in 1955, and he goes to his beautiful mansion, and he's got the thing on, and he sticks something on his head. And he guesses at stuff, and he gets it all wrong, but he actually kind of gets it all right. He's like, you've come from a great distance. You're trying to raise money for the Coast Guard Auxiliary, and he has the flyer in his pocket.
Junior Lifeguards Association.
The flyer about raising money to save the clock tower. Like, everything he says is actually kind of right, but wrong. It's really kind of a great moment. And there's so much in there. That opening shot when they're going
with
to
all the clocks,
the clocks, and they're kind of previewing the Harry Lloyd. They're previewing the Harry Lloyd thing hanging off the clock tower, and the plutonium, and the news report about the stolen plutonium. All of that was added after the recasting.
And the dog food falling into the dish because they haven't been home. They've been dealing with
that whole like Rube Goldberg morning.
That was such it fits so well. Like, it surprisingly holds up, but it is such an 80s sequence.
Yeah, 100%.
Very similar sort of thing in Gremlins with the inventors and that 1980s inventor thing. Yeah.
Or Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yep.
Same thing going through.
Yeah, there's something very 80s. And also, again, it was shot that way because they didn't have Michael J. Fox. And so they had to just shoot feet and bodies and all that stuff. Right?
Yeah, I wonder if the Power of Love would be as big without the movie, or would the movie be as big without Power of Love? But I do feel it's like one of those like what was it? Unchained Melody and Ghost. Like, that song is the pottery scene. Like it's not, you can't. Every time I hear I Had the Time of My Life, it's Dirty Dancing.
It's Dirty Dancing.
I can't separate the two. And the Power of Love is Back to the Future.
And again, I don't think without the movie that song even gets remembered, or even Huey Lewis and the News. But the
American Psycho.
Disagree on the Huey Lewis and the News thing.
Again, I think the reason why they use him in American Psycho is because he was so popular in Back to the Future. You know, like it. Yeah, it's a really good. Again, lightning in a bottle, lightning in a DeLorean moment of everything kind of coming together randomly.
And the score, I mean, not just
Alan
the one
Silvestri,
song, but Alan Silvestri did such a legendary score.
Mm-hmm.
That opening stinger, you know what that is. As bad as it sounds on a kazoo, you still know what you're listening to, and you go, "Oh, Back to the Future." We're how many years later? 40 years later now.
Yeah, but that says
Yeah,
a lot
we're
about
at 40 years. 41 years now. Yeah.
You play the Avengers music for me, and outside maybe the main themes, it's same composer. I could not tell you it was the Avengers. I could tell you Predator. He did Predator 1.
Oh, we could go down a whole separate rabbit hole about modern movies and scoring and etc. That's a whole nother podcast.
But what I was getting at is Back to the Future. I can hear any track he did for that movie, and I know exactly what movie it is.
Mm-hmm.
I just but
very good at sticking to theme when it came to the score, for sure.
Well, even his Predator theme is the same way, where it's you play me anything of that, and I know it's Predator. Like it's not, but again with the Avengers, outside that like da da dun da da dun dun da da dun, I could not tell you the rest of it was him at all.
Even just the music, you know, that when he walks into town square and it's Mr. Sandman, it's the 50s. It's just like this is the 50s.
That's so iconic to that era for sure.
Yeah, you don't even really need much visually.
And the Chuck Berry. We didn't have to talk about Chuck Berry. So like
cousin mom. Yeah, that's maybe this is the non-toxic show, and the two kind of toxic things that get talked about with this movie are definitely the white savior idea that Marvin, or that Chuck Berry heard him playing that song. Marvin but it's actually interesting. Yeah, when he holds the phone, by the time he holds the phone up, Michael J. Fox or Marty is already into like the heavy metal motif thing. So it's already kind of beyond the Johnny Be Good moment of the movie. And then the other one would be, people think it's kind of creepy that the mom falls in love with him. I think that makes total sense. Of course she's gonna fall. Yeah, and that's kind of the whole point. And then the other thing being that the dad was like a peeping Tom, and
to be fair, this was Oedipus's favorite film.
I believe it. I mean that is what the movie's about, and it shouldn't be creepy. It should be funny and heartfelt too. I think it really comes from a special place that, like, of course. And then the other thing too is like, someone mentioned something from my high school the other day, and now I'm getting close to 30, well, maybe not quite 30 years removed from high school. But if somebody showed up for 1 week or a few days in high school in a moment where I was like falling in love with a woman that I was going to marry, I would not remember them. And if there was no photos of him, if he wasn't in the yearbook, there's no way I'd ever remember Marty McFly came into my life for 1 week, because there was a lot going on. I think it's a very believable forgetful.
I was watching something recently, and they did the whole like, hey, phone scene, and they're like, hey, remember those dance moves you were looking for? Here. And it's just like a regular like hold up phone. And it was just like change the expectations on it. I thought it was funny. It was pretty good.
That's very funny. Yeah, the amount of times it's parodied and
my goodness.
It's so good. So good. Yeah. A friend of mine went to a Back to the Future trivia night, and there was one controversial question, which was, in Back to the Future, how many one-way trips does the DeLorean take? And they meant the whole trilogy. And so we're not going to really get into it. I kind of tried to go through it. The one-way trips, of course, they show a couple of them twice because the end of the movie, end of the first one gets repeated in the second one. I think I got 13. I'll run through them quick. So Einstein goes 1 minute into the future.
Right.
And then Marty goes back from the Twin Pine Mall to 1955. Marty then comes forward from 1955 to 1985 prime. And then this is the one that I think they forgot because they didn't say 13 in this answer. When he gets back to the Lone Pine Mall, he watches Marty number 2 go back to 1955 again.
He watches himself leave, but that trip has already occurred.
If he left himself 10 minutes to try to save Doc, but
Doesn't
I don't
it?
know how he could have saved Doc without
The
Marty
letter.
not going back.
Yeah.
Because he can't disrupt Marty going back, or else
Right.
he'll disappear, right? But Doc gets shot before that, so I don't really know what his plan was there. I don't
What's
think
the
He's a
letter?
high
thinking
school
through
student.
it.
Did he really
The
have a
letter.
plan?
Right. Honestly,
right.
I think it was just didn't even realize he wouldn't land right at that place, and he had to make it there.
Right, and that stupid DeLorean never works when it, which
Right.
also happened on the production side too. And then at
course
the
it
end,
did.
of course, Doc arrives from the future, and then
Mhm.
Marty, Doc, and Jennifer go to the future. So I count 6 in the first movie.
I count one more.
Okay.
Because in the scene with all the clocks, like that beginning scene, and when he said is like, oh, all my clocks are going off and it's 25 minutes later or early, whatever. It's like my
Mhm.
experiment worked. And at first, like, yeah, okay, you just changed the clock, whatever. But what was the experiment that they tried at first with the clocks?
Yeah, maybe the fridge. Maybe the fridge was originally he made the flux capacitor in a fridge, and he was able to send all the clocks back. I guess that's not the DeLorean going, but you're right. That might be another time travel kind of beta test.
What was the
Because
answer?
what
to
was
the
that?
question?
What was the experiment otherwise? Oh yeah, was there an official answer?
Yeah.
Well, and then I'll quickly go through 2. So then Doc arrives again. Marty and Jennifer leave again. That shouldn't count. So now they're in 2015. Biff takes it back to 55. Biff returns to 2015. He disappears because the book.
Yep.
And then Doc, Marty, Jennifer go back to 1985. It's now Biff's Hell
messed up.
Valley. Yeah, 1985A. Then Marty and Doc return to 1955, destroy the almanac. Doc gets hit by lightning, goes back to 85. Marty gets the other DeLorean and goes back to, the DeLorean that has been in the cave for 70 years. Goes back
It's
to
still the same DeLorean,
1885.
just time displaced.
Yeah, it's still the same one. He just had to wait for it to get to him. And then while they're in 1885, they can't disturb that DeLorean that's in the cave, even if it means getting the fuel line off of it, or if there's any gas left in it. They probably
They have to work with the one they have.
they got to work with the one they have. And then eventually the train sequence, which is amazing. Marty ends up back in 1985. I had 13 total.
I have way more than that. I have like
and then of course the train doesn't count. The train comes.
Yeah, the train is a separate vehicle.
I've got like,
yeah.
If I'm being honest, I got somewhere like 75.
When are they?
So you come back on the train, like train pushing, not counting it, and then the animated series starts. And like every episode of the animated series,
which I've watched the animated series.
Yeah, they get in that thing and do the thing. Oh, but it's DeLorean. This is the train, not the DeLorean, because it's the family. No, you're right.
Do we count the musical? How about Back to the Future? The musical.
The musical. One thing that I found really, really interesting about the musical is they rewrote the Libyans. They got the Libyans out of there, and they got the bulletproof vest out of there. And the way they did it was that when he first puts the plutonium in the thing, he doesn't have the right kind of radiation suit, and his ribs and heart are glowing, and that's what kills him. Is he dies of radiation poisoning. And so Marty says, Doc, in his letter, you've got to wear this better radiation suit. It actually kind of works, and in the context of a musical, it's a little more lighthearted than it does work.
If you think of Doc's character, at first I was like, no, he's smart enough to understand, but I feel like he's the kind of guy that would like order his suit off Amazon, but he wants to do the experiment now. He's like, I'm not going to wait till tomorrow. I'm going to do it now.
Yeah. He does make a joke about selling the Libyans a bomb full of used pinball parts, and you can see the DeLorean. It very much feels like a pinball machine. Also, he almost leaves without taking the extra plutonium with him. He never gives Marty a plan of what to do with Einstein, and I don't know if he was going to forget Einstein. There's a few things when he comes back out of the truck in that big dramatic moment because of the gull wing doors. I don't know how he got into the DeLorean inside the truck. Yeah. So he would have had to like pull it in and wait for a dramatic moment to come out, which Doc's he's a showman. And like I say, his math is always just a little bit wrong, which is what makes him a brilliant scientist.
He's just absent-minded enough.
Right.
It's a metaphor for the studio and or the director, where it's just like, I have a really good idea, but it's going to cost more than I'm going to tell them, and this is going to be weird, and like it's,
and all the little mistakes, and then of course the ripple effect. When they come back to, 1985 and they fix the whole almanac thing, and the world just changes around Jennifer. I always like to think about when they're in that Hell Valley, there's a second Jennifer running around. There's a second Marty in Switzerland, probably screwing around. There's a lot of like things that just kind of ripple and fade, which is why I think the Eric Stoltz take that he'll never have these memories that his family has is wrong. Because I think eventually the way memories kind of just come back to you randomly in real life, I think that's where he'd be like, oh yeah, I remember when my dad was writing short stories for that magazine.
So do you think he would have both parallel memories then?
I think he'd remember all of it. I think he would. I think
that would be
like, of course,
in theory, that would be the world he grew up in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. In theory,
he would have kind of this, all of it.
Like it gets a little timey-wimey. It gets a little wibbly wobbly.
No,
yeah,
you'd be living with the Mandela effect.
That's the danger of time travel movies.
There was supposed to be a thing where, and they used it in the movie Yesterday, where when it was originally Coca-Cola, when he came back to the 1985, nobody had ever heard of Coke, and there was going to be kind of little jokes like that. But
again,
it's
the Mandela effect every day of your life. Hey, I remember it being this way. And you have to figure out, is it this timeline or the prior timeline or whatever? You're like, you'd go mad. Honestly, I think you would.
Yeah. And I think you only kind of remember what's really important to you in the moment, unless you have a photograph or something that you're really trying to conjure. Memory is fleeting. Human memory is not great anyway. So I think, the idea that he would have this like memory of growing up with his dad, who was this pushover nerd who bought all the peanut brittle and everything, that those memories would exist. But then he'd have this other kind of like, oh yeah, I remember how things were different. So I think that take was actually kind of wrong. Crispin Glover's take, which is a main reason why, he fought with the director constantly and never came back for the sequels, was that they were rewarding Marty with commercialism, that when their life got better, their furniture got better. He got the truck he always wanted and things like that. And he didn't like that as the message. But if that's your takeaway, then you missed the whole point of the movie. And especially when you were in it, it's hard to imagine. But
I thought he was really good though. Like
he's so good. He's
physically
weird in the perfect way, and he's physical. There was a scene when they're out by the laundry where the Grips had to build a fence out of frame to keep Crispin Glover in frame because he moved around so much and while he was talking, and he just has this like fluid thing to him that they had to like build barriers to keep him in frame. I think he's an underrated actor, but a first-class weirdo.
When he puts back his hair and reaches down, like, because when he's practicing what he's going to do, and then he kind of does it in a weird way.
Oh, but like, that's an incredible moment when he realizes it's Biff.
But still does it.
Just like, but this is still wrong,
Yeah.
And then there's a little thing in there too where he punches with his left hand. And there was going to be some jokes earlier that he was one of those people in the 50s that was left-handed and creative and all these things, but that in the 50s they didn't let you do anything with your left hand, which is why his writing was all scribbly and everything. And when he finally hits him with his left hand, and he's a little shocked. He's like, oh, maybe I'm left-handed. So there's some good kind of 50s things in there. I don't know. I'm sorry. I could literally talk about this movie. They thought the fridge wasn't dynamic enough. And then when they get to the third movie and they're in Doc's blacksmith shop, and he's got this incredible machine that's whirring and hissing and grinding, and they're pulling things, and then it ends up being a refrigerator. Like
It's a
it's
refrigerator.
so
It makes
so good.
a block of ice.
One block of ice.
Yeah,
and
one little ice
Yeah.
cube.
That's
Yeah,
got to be a callback to the original.
I
Homage, at least.
it's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
good. And then even because they did 2 and 3 together, and it was actually kind of one script. The idea that Doc's shirt in the second one has horses and trains on it, and they mentioned Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood would have never worn this, and literally the poster for the movie that was Clint Eastwood's first movie is on the wall next to him, and he even kind of gestures to it. He's like, "Oh yeah, you don't know who he is yet because he's not famous yet because that's his first movie that hasn't even come out or is about to come out or whatever."
Right, you don't know who that is yet.
Like,
And then
it's
that's the movie that Biff's watching in the hot tub, and that's the movie they blatantly reference
with
in the third one when he,
Yeah.
bulletproof vest, right?
bulletproof vest, which then also ties back to Doc with the bulletproof vest. I think, again, this is just me. I've got wild theories about this movie, if you can imagine.
Shocker.
But I think that Doc is actually wearing a bulletproof vest the first time through. Because the very first time he gets shot by the Libyans, there's no blood, and
True.
the bullet wounds are black. So
And-
I wouldn't be
Well, and it would
surprised
have
if
to
he-
be because Marty, yeah,
Yeah,
In
well,
the
the way it works is it's because it's kind of odd because when in the cantina scene there is blood, but
We're in
from
Star
then
Wars.
on there isn't.
I don't know if we have to drink for Star Wars on Happiness Patrol. Though.
No, that's just the horses on film thing.
But no, but that's
Okay.
what it
We
feels
also
like.
take a
He would have to be wearing it. The paradoxical, if you want to add any time travel thought to this, he has to be wearing it because
because
he
time
would
kind
have
of
had
all
the
time
letter,
exists.
read the letter, so the whole thing. But Marty hadn't gone back. But if any part of these, like you talked about, taking the fuel line off the one, yeah, that's 100% correct. Because then it wouldn't work. It would be sitting there. He couldn't use it in the future to go back and do.
this isn't a timeline skew, right? This isn't the chalk line that goes down. This is our
Yeah,
main timeline. So he
main
had to have been
timeline,
wearing it at the beginning.
Perhaps.
If you want a really good time travel movie that actually, as best as we can, is Primer.
Primer's so complicated.
So if you go to the Wikipedia page, they have a PDF to explain the film, and if you print it off, it's 6 feet by 4 feet of
Oh my
how all
God.
the timelines work.
And it was a movie made for $7,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Highly recommend. If you haven't seen Primer, go watch Primer. It is
And
short.
Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
I think that's on my list for tonight, by the way. Heads up.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
They did
I
a
also
screening of
wanna-
that at a theater not too long ago. My husband went to go see it. So
Oh, it's amazing.
The Garneau.
So
yeah, it was at the Garneau.
Yep.
I also want to mention that moment that Doc comes rushing to him at the end. And he's like, "Oh, Jennifer and I, we're going to take the new truck out. We're going to go for a drive." He's like, "No, you got to come with me. You got to come to the future." He's like, "What are we becoming assholes?" And like, "No, it's your kids. We got to do something about your kids." I think at this point, Doc has traveled enough through time that he knows that going forward into the future and changing something is a useless venture because Marty you're more likely just to come back and change something in the past than go into the future and change something. I think the only reason why he comes rolling up in such a haste is to stop Marty from getting in the accident with the Rolls Royce. Because that's what happens next. Marty and Jennifer get in the car and they go for a drive, and Needles pulls up, and Needles challenges him to a race, and he gets in an accident. And if anything, that's the moment when he wrecks his hand and gives up on music. That's the moment that his life spirals.
Screwed everything. Yeah.
Yeah, not the kids
100%.
in the future. That can be dealt with later. So I think he's really just trying to interrupt that drive they go on, which is why they bring Jennifer along with them and all that. And then also I think he knows that, and of course it's not really referenced in the first one, and if anything it's the opposite of referenced, is that Marty doesn't like to be called a chicken.
Yeah.
When they kind of bring that in, that is a lesson that he thinks he'll maybe learn in the future if he sees that his life didn't turn out
Right.
So I think all of that was, but then of course Biff stealing the almanac, Biff going back in time, you know, you do wonder how many times they've gone through this, but yeah, having to go back to a specific point again in 1955, the idea of a sequel going back into the first movie. And anyway, I feel like I'm talking too much, but
There's
all
a
good.
there's a fan theory that I heard. I want to say it came from Cracked After Hours series when that was still a thing.
Yeah.
That Doc Brown is the reason Doc Brown is so invested in Marty, in looking after Marty and working with Marty, is because that is the version of Marty that saved his life in the first place.
Yeah. So he's got to keep him alive, and
yeah, exactly. He's got to keep Marty alive as like a act of his own survival, because this is the Marty that saves his life by giving him a letter so he doesn't get shot.
And who knows in the future how closely they're tied and the other things that are gonna come about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there is a lot of question about like, why is he hanging out with this scientist? And I
That's
believe
never really properly explained. It's like
it really isn't. It's just it's a scientist and his boy, right? Like
yeah. I think they tried to do it in the comics and they tried to do it in the Telltale video game. I think what it was is that Marty wanted his band, if I remember correctly, Marty wanted his band to be the loudest band. So he was working with Doc
that kind of fits
to you know, get louder equipment and kind of experimental stuff. And then Doc was probably like, hey, can you help me with this thing? Can you help me with this thing? And
I think honestly Doc is so odd.
Yeah, he's the coolest guy in
nobody
town.
else would reach out. Like nobody else would have reached out to him other than somebody trying to get something out of him. So just the fact that he had somebody like
which makes perfect sense with the opening that he wants to be the loudest band, right? Because he's it opens with him standing in front of that. Like,
no, that makes that whole scene make way more sense.
That makes
Bob Gale told the story that his neighbor was kind of you know, an inventor, tinkerer kind of guy, or some kind of technical something, and it didn't matter how old he was or that he didn't have kids, or he just thought that neighbor was the coolest guy because he was the coolest guy in town. He was doing things that other people weren't doing. So you could see why Marty would be kind of drawn to Doc. And it's funny that Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd didn't even really become friends until the third movie, because the first two movies, they didn't have a ton of scenes together. There's only kind of a few moments and where they get to interact. I mean, not as much as we actually probably think, because he spends a lot of time with Crispin Glover and with you know, other characters. But the idea that he, you know, the third one, they really got to be together. You know,
cool.
It's nice.
The third one is a lot of them working together,
right? Yeah.
Whereas the first two is them like working towards the same goal, but a lot separately, quite a bit.
Right. Yeah. You know, we do a lot of like theme night. Like I love watching movies and of course the board games. And I'll do like where a theme is like, okay, let's watch the movie. Now let's go play the game version of it. And then kind of just go with it, like either the same night or the weekend or whatever. And we've played Back to the Future Back in Time. There's a few versions of it. This is like one of the ones that I've played. And it was really interesting like to see with an IP board games. Some of them, you know, just let's paste down Monopoly, but like when it's a IP modern board game, what aspect they'll take from the movie to kind of fit it into the board game. And with Back to the Future Back in Time, it's like it's a cooperative game where there's all these different missions that needs to be accomplished at, you know, in order to be able to successfully go back to the present, I guess is that. But you know, like so Doc has to do certain thing and get the science together, and then you need to get Lorraine and the dad, you know, at this location at the same time, and like all these different little missions that needs to happen so that everything connects. So, but it was just like I really enjoyed the
spirit of the movie. Yeah,
it's 100% in the spirit of the movie. And then it's like, you know, like you have all the and cooperative, like there, it's tough. I haven't won it yet, but it's just a neat kind of parallel thing to the movie. And I think they did a good job with it.
That's very cool. I want to play that now.
Yeah, it's actually really good. And as Mel pointed out, it's legitimately really close to the spirit of the movie. So
We can play the drinking game of people cam name drops. One time I got to play, speaking of games, I got to play Running Charades with Mary Steenburgen, who plays Clara Clayton in the third one. And in Running Charades, you get to write down movies, then it goes in a hat. And I was like, well, I'm writing down Back to the Future 3, specifically Back to the Future 3, and then by pure lightning in a DeLorean, she pulls that one and she's going
So fun.
Back to the Future. And it made me, I was laughing so hard I couldn't even give the answer. But then she finished and she just went, "Oh, I hated working on that movie.
Oh no.
Died." They did not care about her safety at a level they needed to care about her safety. And that scene on the train,
Hollywood didn't care about a woman. What?
Or safety. That scene on the train when she was walking across the timber car, she was like, "Oh, she asked the guy, like, where do I step? Like, is there a, is it drilled down? Is there a path here?" And he's like, "No."
So the fear was real.
The fear was real. And when she gets kind of blown back, even though I think a stunt double did the big blowback, but when she like blows back in that golly was a real golly. Because she was surprised at the force of the fall back.
Crazy.
If she fell off, you just go back before she fell off.
Yeah.
No.
They were
taking
advantage of their time travel abilities.
Make sure they get all the really important scene done first.
Yeah.
And of all the dangerous things, what she got hurt the most doing was the dance.
Really?
Yeah.
She tore a tendon or something in her leg and her ankle.
It's that ZZ Top was going so hard that she, and she was.
I love that it was
limping
ZZ Top so much.
Yeah. She does enjoy the fandom of the movie and everything, but she said it was a very difficult shoot for the few days she was there. But she is so good. I watched 1, 2, and 3 this week, and I cannot get over. I know. I cannot get over how good Mary Steenburgen is in that role, and even that idea that they kind of key it up that Doc doesn't understand women, and even in the 1955 version, he doesn't even know what a dance is called. He's like a rhythm, a ritual of rhythmic movement. And then by the third movie, he's dancing with her, and
Doc can dance.
Doc can dance. And there's so much. There's a good Blazing Saddles cameo by the guy who sells him his Colt.
Yeah,
45, and they key up the scene with Elijah Wood where he's playing the video game. He's he's up that he's actually got a pretty good shot, although I'm sure it's very different with a real gun than it is with a video game gun.
Well, if you remember correctly, his first shot goes poing.
Yeah. And then he switches hands.
Yeah.
He switches to his right hand.
Random on that, actually, there was a Canadian magazine called Shift. It was like a Canadian version of Wired. And Clive Thompson, I think, was the production our head writer. And he wrote an article once talking about he's never shot a gun before, but he's played video games his whole life. So he was invited down to a range and to see how well he did. And what they came out of it was after he got like used to how the gun's kick was. So the first shot or two, I think it was 6 or 7 guns he used. After the first shot or two, and he got it under, all the rest of the 8 shots, because they did it out of 10, always hit center mass. And he was like, I've never shot a gun before, but games have shown me how to.
Yeah.
And it was
I kind of felt that way driving. When I learned to drive, I was kind of like, okay, I understand that you got to like slow down into a curve and then accelerate through it. And
because that's what you're doing in
video games kind of.
I would argue that Mario Kart has not made me a better driver.
No, I have thrown more than one banana
to avoid bananas.
Not a single skid.
Yeah. I don't have nearly enough blue shells in my car's inventory.
As there's people on the road.
My Honda Civic does not drift around corners very well.
Well,
maybe
except
don't believe in yourself.
I mean, that might be me. I admit that might be me.
But in the movies, he doesn't really do. He goes from point A to point B down a straight line a lot.
Yeah.
Mario Kart prepared me for that and getting hit by lightning.
No.
No one prepared me for ink on my windshield.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we've gotten a wonderful conversation about Back to the Future. This has been a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
It's a good movie.
It
I
is.
have one
Easy to
question.
love.
I have one question. May I? One question?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Cam,
It wouldn't be a show if Scott didn't have one more thing to say.
Cam, what was the number of right answers for that trivia? You said 13, and then I went,
I
hey,
said
what was
13. They said 12.
12?
Yeah,
There
I
we go.
believe. I believe they said
Yeah.
12. So I think
Cool.
they were either, I don't think they were missing Einstein going 1 minute into the future, but I think a lot of the people that counted it did. Like a lot of the
Right.
That's
players.
where
Did
when you
somebody
said
like
it,
contest that? They're like, no. And then they like, did somebody fight for that point?
There was a lot
say
of
yes.
discussion, and and then enough so that he reached out to me and asked me what I thought, and I ran through
Amazing.
it. I think what people forget about is the second Marty from the Lone Pine going back to 1955, which is as important as every other time travel, because
Mhm.
without he's watching him, Doc gets shot, he's racing, and then he sees him go back. If he had interrupted that, it would have thrown the whole thing off. Also, I want to mention very quickly the other thing that you know, when Doc doesn't bring Clara or tells Clara he's got to go back to the future, and she doesn't believe him and she's all upset. I think Doc, as a scientist, should have recognized immediately that they couldn't leave Clara there. Leaving Clara in the past where she should have been dead and at the bottom of Clayton Ravine was like absolutely dangerous. Every item she touched, every person she fell in love with,
the
every
butterfly
student
effect.
she taught,
Yeah.
it could have ruined the timeline in unthinkable ways. And their first mission should have been to go to Clara as a duo and say, we're sorry, but we saved your life, and now you have to come with us to the future
If you want to
and
live.
yeah, and the fact that eventually him and Clara do have children and get a new time machine, and it runs on steam.
Ray Bradbury's butterfly effect is it's a time travel like vacation, and they go back and you get to shoot a T-Rex just before the meteor hits and kills, or the asteroid hits, kills everyone. But they're on raised platforms because they don't want to disturb anything. You just got to go get a yeah. But in one of them, the T-Rex moves differently, and the guy steps off and crushes a butterfly, and in the future, dinosaurs still exist. And that's the whole, like, you can't eat one thing. It seems small here, but it ripples so big as you start getting the permutations, right? And so, yeah. But yeah, so the wrong answer was 12. Is what
I think the wrong answer is 12 or 14. Some people said 14. I think the right, because they counted.
I think if you get 14, that means you've counted the same trip twice. Because
the Claudia Wells trip
angles.
and yeah. So the fact. Also worth mentioning that Claudia Wells was the second Jennifer, because the original Jennifer who shot with Eric Stoltz, I can't think of her name right now, but she plays the head manager on The Office. She's Michael Scott's girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Right.
But they felt she was too tall for Michael J. Fox. And actually it was only the female executives at the studio thought it was unbelievable that she would be Marty's girlfriend. So they recast her. So she shot 5-6 weeks on this movie and then is almost never mentioned again as being part of it. It was a wild production that maybe would make a very great behind the scenes. Like maybe you don't remake Back to the Future, but you make a movie about the making of Back to the Future one day.
Hold on. Are you saying that there were three different Jennifers?
Yeah. So it started with I should know her name, but it started with the lady from The Office.
I also forget the actress's name off
I'll
the
look
top
it
of
up
my head
very
right now.
quick. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll look it up.
And then it went to Claudia Wells. And then it went to
Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth Shue, yeah. Let's see. I'll get her name here. Starts with an M.
Everyone's looking.
Yeah.
Look her up. She deserves it.
She's great. She's great. And was probably Melora Hardin.
Sorry.
Melora.
Melora Hardin.
Melora. Oh, that's unusual.
Yeah. She played Jan Levinson on The Office and
Jan.
was the original Jennifer.
But
So,
we've never seen any of her footage then, right? Because she would have done it with Eric Stoltz.
it's all the Eric Stoltz
footage,
footage. And there's maybe one, maybe two shots of Eric Stoltz still in the movie. Of course.
Oh, like back of the head kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's when after he trips Biff in the diner and Biff stands back up, you can tell by the eye line that he's not looking at Michael J. Fox, he's looking at Eric Stoltz. So that shoulder or side of the face is Eric Stoltz. And then maybe another shot in the diner where you can kind of see his shoulder. There's one, maybe two shots of Stoltz left in the movie. But
yeah, and then I've seen behind the scenes with him realizing it's his dad beside him, and they use it over. You see it every once in a while where they compare Stoltz to Fox.
The
like
persona shot where he peers out from behind his dad's face.
Yeah.
It's a beautifully crafted movie. I think again we have to thank Steven Spielberg, Kathleen Kennedy made a lot of these decisions, and obviously Zemeckis is a great director. And throughout the whole series, I think Dave, you even mentioned on your letterbox that he used every trick in the book, and even developed new things. It was very George Lucas like of him to, when they get into the second movie and there's multiple actors or multiple characters being played by the same actor and the camera's moving and they're using motion control computers and a lot of the visual effects and practical effects were cutting edge. Really, it's sci-fi, but it's also heartwarming, family, and it kind of ticks all the boxes.
Kind of like Lost in Space is just Swiss Family Robinson. This is the same thing where it's sci-fi, but it's sci-fi the whole family can get behind, whether you're in for it or not.
Yeah, in many ways, it's Wizard of Oz. It's we're in Kansas, we got to get back to Kansas. We're not in Kans's anymore. So
kids don't run into manure.
Yeah, watch out for manure and don't be a peeping Tom. I almost wonder if his new role as like a community leader and a student council president and all this earned confidence and respect, do you think his perversions got any worse or any better? Like I don't know.
Let's say hopefully.
If Crispin Glover got picked up for like in some like actress's bushes because he was a peeping Tom, I could see it. It sounds really bad, but I can see it. When you ask what he brought to the role, that could have been part of it. Like it's like
I've had many discussions about who he's peeping because I think a lot of people think it's Lorraine. And
you think it's like her mom?
I can't tell from the eye line if it's
sister?
even the right side of the street or if it's
Which honestly would make sense because the whole time he seems fairly uninterested in Lorraine until
Mel makes a very good point. If you want to go dance with Lorraine? Oh yeah, I would love to. I've been staring at her from the bush. I mean, I've had my eye on her. I mean, I know who she is.
Yeah.
Like it's
it's definitely an upstairs bedroom.
Because hold on. This so George falls out of the tree this way.
Yeah.
He's peeping this way. So he falls out of the tree this way. He gets hit by Lorraine's father in his car, who gets out of the car and shouts this way to his wife.
Yeah.
I think George is peeping across the street.
Another one of these damn kids.
Yeah, I think
another one.
It's not Lorraine.
Another one is so good.
He's found a woman across the street.
Yeah, I think
it's
a neighbor. I don't think it's Lorraine, but a lot of people think it's Lorraine. So,
I think
know.
I mean, it could be. It happened in front of her house, right? So it makes sense.
Yeah. It's just it's something about the eye line of the dad yelling to his wife.
I don't know
that doesn't quite
because then it goes from peeping Tom to stalker. Peeping Tom to me would be like whichever window's open. If he keeps going back to the same tree, same bush,
does he though? Because otherwise he would know not to fall out of it.
Well,
Well, but again, it's another one. So maybe he's
got
fallen out of
startled.
it before, and the dad like avoided him. It's just that this time the dad hit him, or
There happened to be a
would have
car
hit
on the
him if
road at the time he
Marty
fell out of the tree.
And for the
Didn't say it.
audience who started with us, whoever had N's podcast talking about Peep and Toms, you can hit your bingo card now.
Congratulations.
That's a
Congratulations.
great way to end. That's a great way to
Is
end.
it? Is it a
Yeah.
great way to end?
I thought
No,
we were going
but
to
we're
end on
gonna do it
poop, so
anyway.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm glad
I'm happy
we can
to
get into
do
manure.
and not on poop.
Why
Yeah.
there's such a big manure truck in downtown Hill Valley, but
Well, that
Um,
represents politics. That's the whole
oh,
narrative.
okay, yeah. Well, there's
There we go.
actually a park. There's a park at the courthouse where they need, fertilizer. Whereas in 1985, it's a parking lot. So I don't know.
Actually, it was supposed to drive and catch George when he fell, but it didn't happen because of Marty and the dad.
It's
So
the butterfly.
someone was going to fall in poop. It's historically important.
I
Yeah,
hate
100%.
manure.
Okay,
And
Dave.
And on that note,
Poor Dave's been trying to stop us for 10
I
minutes.
know.
Oh,
what
I
happened.
didn't do
That's
that.
okay.
What happened?
this is standard.
Yeah,
This is why I said theoretically I try to rein things in at. No, it never works. But with that having been said, we will call this episode complete.
Yes.
Oh no, I have one more. question. Dave,
You have a
Yes.
Columbo
can you
issue, my
do
friend.
the wrapping up thing? If you can do the wrapping up where you ask us what we do and stuff, that'd be great.
Okay, I can probably do that. Let's start with Cameron. Cameron, what's something that's making you happy, and where can we find you?
Well, I mean, the fact that I got to watch 3 Back to the Future movies this week and delve into a little bit, and that was great. I will say this: Michael J. Fox's new book called Future Boy is amazing, and you have to read it. It's short. It's exactly about what we're talking about tonight. Everything he went through shooting it, the timeline, his schedule, what the movie means to him now. Yes, that's what's making me happy is Future Boy by Michael J. Fox. Where can you find me? I'm on Letterboxd at Cameron Chapman. I'm on there a lot talking about Back to the Future, Star Wars, Westerns. I'm also with Dave and Scott. We do another podcast called Horses on Film. So if you're new to the Happiness Patrol world, Horses on Film is part of that same universe. We are counting down the top 100 Westerns of all time, something I'm very passionate about, and we're learning all kinds of great stuff about Westerns. And Back to the Future 3 will definitely get an episode of its own, so we'll be able to talk a lot about
You heard it here first.
Biff Tannen or Mad Dog Tannen,
Yes.
Buford. But yeah, that's me.
And Scott, what's something that's making you happy, and where can we find you?
I can be found breakfastscotchnational.com. Oh, you made it bigger. I actually was getting used to this. But yeah, where I take the current political climate, especially here in Alberta, and try to add a humorous spin. Yay. But between that, making me happy. I just ran my first event over the weekend since COVID, so that went really well. Getting to talk, meet Anita and see Mel again. That's fantastic. Always enjoy chatting with Cam and Dave. So just winter's almost over. I think we get up here. I think we're going to get snow tonight, but I did put the snow shovels away. So it won't last. It's supposed to be 14 tomorrow, so hopefully it won't last. That's making me happy. And then back to wearing shorts instead of pants. And that's where I'm at. I'm going to guess Mel, what is making you happy?
Well, I'll start with where you can find me. So you can find me on Instagram at Mel's_boardgame_room. I'm also on Blue Sky, YouTube, and Facebook under Mel's Board Game Room. I also do a podcast with my friend Carla called The Board Game Specialist. Now, unrelated to all of that, what makes me happy lately is we ordered a ridiculously expensive barbecue yesterday. So we got the Napoleon Prestige Pro 665 coming with the griddle attachment. So I've been rewatching all of these like really old like cooking shows like Boy Meets Grill and License to Grill, and I'm like, it's gonna be amazing. And then of course it snowed after we ordered that, so that's my fault.
Of course, that's whose fault it is. Terrible. That's it. That's enough of you. Last but certainly not least, Anita, what is something that is making you happy, my friend, and where can we find you?
Okay, well, you can find me if you like listening to me even more. You can find me at my podcast, The Read Along. It's a mini book club. My husband and I pick a book. We go through it chapter by chapter until we're done, and we talk about it. Dave brought it up at the beginning that I actually really like how you do it. How you like listen to a chapter of the audiobook and then listen to us and then back and forth. I think that's a great way to consume a book.
Yep.
And if I may plug one more thing, my husband has another podcast called I Have Some Notes, where he and two of his friends watch a truly mediocre movie and do their best to punch it up and make it better. What's making me happy right now? At the moment, it's two screen related things. One of my favorite stand-up comedians has just dropped a new special on Netflix. His name is Shang Wang, and his new special is called Purple.
Nice.
He's very funny.
So great.
And very positive. He's a very good vibes comedian. So I highly recommend him. He's very funny. Cracks me right up. And the other thing that's really making me happy is that the latest season of Taskmaster has started again, and Kumail Nanjiani is on it, and it's just, we've only seen the one episode and it's an absolute delight. It's madness and I love it.
Madness.
And if you're not watching Taskmaster, like, treat yourself.
I was about to say that.
It's so good. It's so crazy. I love it. I love it deeply.
The creativity on it is what gets me.
Right? I aspire to that level of improvised game madness. Like I watch some of that stuff and I'm like, man, I wish I could come up with something that cool.
It's still being put together, but the room I'm in is about crazy game like Taskmaster stuff. So
sweet.
Stay
I've
tuned.
noticed you have
Maybe
two.
we can-
Are those Game Cubes behind you? Do you have two Game Cubes right behind you
Oh,
on the
Yeah,
shelf?
there's-
Yes, like you see the library of games, but I can see specifically cubes.
I will do a pan around for everyone else has seen this, but I'll do this kind of give a hint. So you have Nintendo.
Mhm.
Nice.
I see it. I
Ooh,
see it. I love it.
Station.
Oh, nice. Very good.
Oh, wheel.
Wheel.
Xbox.
Yep.
And I'm still putting together the PlayStation, PC, Sega, all the other games there. The board games are in another room. So
in
My
the
board
board,
game.
games
Fun
also
and
do not
pixels, what
fit
it's
in one
gonna be.
room.
yeah,
I imagine.
each one of those screens will hook up to those consoles, and we'll get to something. So,
Oh my god,
Neat.
that sounds amazing.
Very
and then board games. Mel's board game room is insane. So it's admirable.
I've hit
at least.
1,200.
Oh
So-
my
Good.
god.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, because we had to redo the flooring, so they had to get packed up. The insurance company came over and they're like, "Oh, we didn't bring enough boxes."
The insurance. Because unfortunately, I'm guessing.
We
'Cause
had
we
like
tried-
it was a claim, but nothing got damaged, just the flooring, so it was good.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
having
we-
to pack
we
the
opened the-
game room.
Yeah, we opened the board game store and trying to get that stuff insured was pulling teeth because they're like, it changes in value. So I'm like, no, not really. like it's just it's, so yeah. That's a little behind the scenes of us. Go watch Mel's stuff as well and listen to Anita's podcast. It's fantastic.
oh,
Amazing.
thanks.
Yeah, Dave.
Dave, what about you? Where can we find Dave? Chat.
Oh, Dave is in the top corner. We find him.
I'm
all
right
the
here.
time.
I'm still in the corner.
Yeah.
I'm just hiding off
Dave's
in the
all over
corner.
the
He was
place.
behind the couch all along. No,
Exactly. No, you can find me all over the YouTubes. You can find me most Sundays on Spill the Geek T at Spill the Geek T1. Most Tuesdays on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, talking about Doctor Who. Of course, we've got the first Thursday of every month right here on Happiness Patrol at Happiness Patrol Show, where you were probably watching us. And of course, these every other Monday with Scott and Cameron and some guests at On Film on YouTube. And in between all of that, my own channel where I do a lot of board gaming type related stuff, youtube.com/theRatHole, DOTCA. That's theRatHole.ca, but YouTube does not like URLs in their URLs.
Weird.
Right? So
Internet.
most places I'm theRatHole.ca, but some of the places I have to be theRatHole DOTCA.
There you go.
I wish I'd known that before I started setting things up. Consistency. Who needs consistency? So with all of that, especially thank you, Anita and Melanie, for pinch hitting, joining us for this amazing talk of Back to the Future.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
That's a nice easy topic.
Yeah, it was. It's one of those things like, who can I get to talk about Back to the Future? and the list was
lengthy.
Well, everyone would.
Who
everyone
doesn't want to talk about Back to the Future?
Yeah.
Everyone can talk about Back to the Future.
Somebody I approached said, I don't really love it.
But
oh my god,
but
That person is wrong.
Yeah,
We don't
a
want
lot
them
about
here.
the film though. Like if you just listen for the last hour, 60 minutes and 22, 23, 24, 20. Okay, I'm going to stop that. Seconds of us talking about how great this film is. If you need any other reason, if you've never seen it or don't think it, whatever, that there was a list of people who would love to talk about it. Minus one person who's like, so
Exactly.
Yeah, honestly.
Exactly.
And as far as that moment in movies where they say the title of the movie, is there a better line reading than
no.
Christopher
Right?
Lloyd pointing right at the camera
Thank you.
and saying
To the future.
nothing better? Even Michael J. Fox has another good one when he's convincing Doc to come back with him, and that's iconic. It's iconic.
Mhm.
Exactly. So that's been our Back to the Future episode. Next month, it's going to be very exciting. I say that every month because it's always exciting. We're wonderful. We've got one of Scott's picks. We're going to be talking about Labyrinth.
Woo!
Nice.
Woo!
Jim Henson.
There's nothing wrong with this film. I stand behind it. There is nothing wrong with this film. And yes, problematic. I'm going to get it away here. He's a little old. She's a little young. But we all like a lot of young. But the movie's fantastic. I guess I get to be Cameron on the next one and go into. I have no fan theories, but
you got a month to figure them out.
I got a month to figure one out.
I fully expect you to spend at least 15 minutes of that episode talking about David Bowie's pants.
Oh, you know why he's wearing the codpiece?
Because he's David Bowie.
No. The contact juggling is not David Bowie. It was actually.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
And they kept, when he did it, he kept winging Bowie's little Bowie. And so they put a godpiece on him so it would stop. And that's literally, and now, like,
Right.
I don't know who thought it was a good idea to end every scene in a movie with a zoom in on his codpiece, but sure, okay. And now that I've said it, if you do not believe me, go back and watch it. It happens a lot. Like,
Nice. If I may quote Taskmaster Greg Davies for just a moment, the pendulum draws the eye.
Oh no!
I was going to make a Skeksis.
We're going to spend 15 minutes of this episode talking about David Bowie's pants at this point. Dave, save us.
Well, now we have something for all of our viewers over the next month. We're going to watch Labyrinth before the episode comes out.
You should.
It's going to be all David Bowie's pants.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to take their eyes off of David Bowie's
pants.
The
Reminds me of the thing
all-codpiece
that makes the
episode.
Dave. So it's it's a whole thing. But like his speech, I can go. Oh, so
no, we'll save that for next month. Save that
Save it for the episode.
Chili Down is so underrated. I got to see David Bowie in 2004, and all I wanted him to play was "As the World Falls Down," and it didn't happen.
Randy,
Here comes the kazoo. Here comes the kazoo.
I just lost the theme song. I'm laughing so hard.
Help you.
Yeah. Thank you, Anita.
I'm
That's
helping.
not the theme song. The theme song is